Hello everyone, Puppy Recaps here. Today, we will review the movie Aquaman, King of Atlantis. The movie begins with a young man named Thomas, whose job is to guard the lighthouse. One stormy night, he went out with a flashlight to check the surroundings and saw a woman washed ashore. When he got closer, he realized she was still alive, so he decided to take her back to his house. When she wakes up, she suddenly grabs his neck, thinking he wants to hurt her. She even shoots her trident into the TV. Then, remembering she is injured, she faints again. The next morning, when she wakes up, she notices her wounds are carefully bandaged. In front of her is an aquarium, and she casually scoops up a small fish and eats it raw. The young man sees this and is stunned. He tells her not to eat his dog and quickly hands her a cup of tea, saying it will make her feel better. The mermaid takes the tea, tastes it, and finds it strange. She then introduces herself as Atlanta, the queen of an underwater world called Atlantis. After Thomas continues to take care of her, the two are falling in love. The queen of the ocean escapes her arranged marriage and finds true love here. After that kiss, the mermaid is pregnant, and soon enough, their little family welcomes a tiny new member. They name their son Arthur, which means he symbolizes the unity of two different worlds. They capture those happy moments by taking family photos. Atlanta is telling her son's story about the king of Atlantis. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the house as part of the wall crumbles. She quickly hands their son to her husband. Turns out, Atlantis soldiers are after her. This isn't her first battle. Armed with her trident, she wipes out the sea soldiers in no time. Yet, she knows this isn't over. Fearing that next time the king might send an entire army after her, she makes a tough decision to return to the ocean to protect her family. She promises to come back when things calm down. With a kiss for her husband and a tender goodbye to her son, she turns and swims back to the depths of the sea. Time passes, and the boy is now old enough to start school. One day, during a field trip to a deep-sea aquarium with his classmates, something unusual happens. Arthur happily greets the fish in the tanks. However, two big bullies start picking on him. Just as things seem to get worse, a shark notices what's happening and suddenly charges at the glass wall. The two bullies barely have time to react before the shark's repeated attacks cause cracks to appear on the glass. Arthur steps forward, places his hand on the glass, and emits a powerful sound wave. He then turns around, his eyes glowing gold. Behind him, all kinds of sea creatures gather, ready to protect him. Many years later, a young man named Manta, along with his father, Jesse, leads a group of pirates to attack a submarine. They took the captain as a prisoner. Meanwhile, the radar on the submarine detected a strange object approaching quickly. Suddenly, the submarine was pushed to the surface at incredible speed, making the pirates inside lose balance. Arthur entered the ship and the pirates immediately fired at him. But with his exceptional skills, he easily blocked the bullets and quickly defeated each of them. Manta rushed forward to fight Arthur face to face. They fought fiercely, but Manta was soon defeated because he wasn't strong enough. Then Jesse appeared and fired a grenade launcher and Arthur falls to the floor. Manta and Jesse are pleased, thinking they've won. But to their surprise, Arthur stands up seemingly unharmed. Just as the old man was about to fire again, Arthur threw a metal rod, pinning him to the wall. As Arthur's about to leave, Jesse shoots at him again. But Arthur dodges and the bullet hits the submarine wall. This causes water to rush in, knocking over a large gas tank that lands on Jesse's leg. Manta tries to lift the gas tank to save his father but can't manage it. He begs Arthur for help, but Arthur refuses because they killed a lot of people. Manta refuses to give up and keeps trying to save him. Jesse, knowing they're out of time, tells Manta to leave before they both go down with the sub. But Jesse doesn't give him a choice. He sets off a bomb, forcing Manta to swim away while the submarine sinks. Aquaman uses a rope to pull the crew back to shore, returning to the lighthouse. Arthur's father is still waiting for his wife. Just as he turns to leave, his son suddenly appears and the two embrace tightly. At the same time, deep in the ocean in Atlantis, the new king, Orm, is leading a coalition with the king of Zebel, Nerus. Orm openly talks about his plan to conquer the kingdom and punish humans on land. But King Nerus believes that violence is not the solution and reminds Orm that his stepbrother is still on land, and he could also sit on the throne of Atlantis. While they're talking, a loud explosion is heard. A submarine attacks the palace where the two kings are, causing it to collapse. Both kings rush to the submarine. Another torpedo hits, causing a sudden explosion that traps King Nerus under a large stone. King Orm quickly saves Nerus, then rides his pet and charges toward the submarine. Using his trident, he attacks and easily destroys the submarine. King Nerus agrees to join forces with King Orm. In some place, Manta is holding his father's knife, sitting alone on the ship. A much larger ship appears. The Atlantis soldiers slowly emerge and approach Manta. They then press a button and the figure of King Orm begins to appear. It turns out the submarine hijacking was orchestrated by King Orm to bring King Nerus to his side. King Orm hands over a bag of gold to seal the deal. Meanwhile, on land, Arthur helps his father into the car and meets a beautiful girl who is Princess Mera, the daughter of King Nerus. She wants Arthur to return to Atlantis with her to reclaim the throne. She explains that Arthur's stepbrother King Orm is about to declare war on mankind, and billions of people will be killed. Mera mentions that Volko has discovered the location of the legendary trident, and if Arthur obtains it, he will be revered by the people of Atlantis. Despite her words, Arthur refuses the responsibility. As father and son are on their way home, Arthur feels a cold wind approaching from afar. A tsunami is coming. Sensing the danger, Arthur speeds up to escape the wave, but he is soon overwhelmed. Arthur is thrown from the car by a log and he gets separated from his father. In his confusion, a whirlpool appears and begins to spread around him. It turns out that Princess Mera uses her powers to help him. Arthur's car surfaces and Mera uses her hands to draw all the water from Arthur's father. He wakes up, coughing out the last of the water. Arthur is grateful to her and she tells him that everything happening was orchestrated by his stepbrother. The next morning, Arthur takes the beautiful princess to the coast and introduces her to the place where Volko taught him everything. From a young age, his Atlantis bloodline helped him speak and move easily underwater. Volko had been entrusted by the queen to train Arthur to be skilled. The underwater world is just like the scenes in the movie Avatar. As a child, Arthur used to play with dolphins and then he would sit next to Volko. Returning to the present, Arthur and Mera head to her ship, hidden in a junkyard under the ocean. Arthur comments that the ship must smell awful, but Mera jokes that it smells better than him. Arthur thinks about it for a moment, then smells his armpit and nearly gags. The fish-shaped spacecraft speeds across the water and the two of them enter the kingdom of Atlantis, which looks even more beautiful than Arthur had imagined. Mera explains that the security here is strict and enemies can't get past the laser guns and guards. She manages to pass the checkpoint. Mera congratulates Arthur for returning to his homeland. Arthur is amazed as he looks around. This is his ancestral homeland. Mera drives the ship to a safe spot and inside the old ship is an open space. Arthur meets his old teacher, Volko, who tells him about the submarine attack on Mera's father, King Nerus and King Orm. King Nerus was tricked into allying with King Orm, and they are preparing to lead an army to overpower the other two kingdoms and recruit more allies. There is only one way to save the situation, and that is for Arthur to reclaim his throne. Volko explains that if he can find the legendary trident, the people will place their trust in him. The trident is a true artifact, forged by the greatest weapon masters in history for the first king of Atlantis named Atlan. Before Atlantis collapsed, it was a unified kingdom, a prosperous era with advanced technology and limitless energy development. However, due to boundless ambition and a desire for ultimate power, King Atlan led the kingdom to its downfall. This was also the darkest period in history, as the ocean swallowed Atlantis. But when one door closed, another opened. The people of Atlantis gained the ability to breathe underwater and gradually evolved while some others remained degenerated. Atlan couldn't bear the burden and chose to live the rest of his life in self-imposed exile. Volko then reveals to Arthur a recorder that holds Atlan's final message to his people, as well as the location of the trident. The recorder is ancient and can only be played with a special device located in the Deserter Kingdom. Suddenly, a loud explosion was heard as the Atlantis guard discovered the stranger. Volko did not allow Mera to appear, so Arthur faced the guards alone. He easily fought against the soldiers. At that moment Mera quickly picked up an artifact and left. The Red Army appeared, and Arthur faced off against three of them. He defeated them in no time, causing the commander to watch from behind. Arthur then decided to continue fighting. The soldier in powerful armor attacked him, sending Arthur flying and landing a bonus punch. When Arthur woke up, he found himself chained up inside the Atlantis palace. King Orm sat on the throne, feeling satisfied as he watched his brother kneel before him. He believed that Arthur was a major threat to Atlantis and hated that he couldn't kill him right then and there. Arthur heard these words and stood up, flying toward his brother. However, he was stopped by chains. Mera and Volko only watched, not intervening. King Orm believed that humans had polluted the ocean and slaughtered marine species. He thought Arthur was following the human side against Atlantis. Arthur disagreed, stating that he was there to stop his brother's insane actions. When Orm asks if Arthur has come to Atlantis to fight for the throne, Arthur says he's ready to do it to end his brother's war. Orm is pleased with this and agrees to the challenge, even though Mera and Volko try to talk him out of it. Mera says there's no point in fighting Arthur because he doesn't know much about underwater combat. But Orm insists that he will teach his brother a lesson in front of everyone in Atlantis. Orm says that if Arthur wins he will end the war, but if Arthur loses he will be killed. While Arthur gets ready for the fight, Volko talks to him and asks why he let Orm provoke him. Arthur says he can take him on, but Volko warns him that fighting underwater is very different from fighting on land. Arthur then remembers the things Volko taught him when he was younger. As he shows Volko some of his skills, he suddenly recalls the day his mentor first trained him. On that day, Arthur asks Volko when he will be able to meet his mom. Volko informs him that Orvax has already sent Atlana to the Kingdom of the Trench for execution. Arthur is in shock and gets extremely angry because he believes Atlana was killed because of him. Back in the present, King Orm gave Princess Mera a pearl necklace, saying that it was a token left by his mother for her daughter-in-law. While they were talking, Arthur came and was shocked because Mera was his brother's fiancée. King Orm spoke of an ancient monster so powerful that even King Atlan had to respect it. It was sealed deep under the ocean. Arthur told Orm that he really wanted to meet his brother, so that he wouldn't feel as lonely as Arthur had. But when they met, his brother turned out to be a warmonger. And the battle began. King Orm, wearing a helmet, flew up into the arena where the Atlantis citizens had gathered to cheer for their king. When Arthur appeared, the people saw him as a traitor. The two brothers clashed, each wielding their respective tridents, one belonging to Orm's father, the other to their mother. The two brothers clashed in a battle of equal strength, each evenly matched. However, as the fight went on, King Orm gained the upper hand with his underwater combat skills, pushing Arthur into a rocky wall. Orm strangled his brother with his trident, driving it deep into the volcanic core. Just when it seemed like Orm would win, Arthur reversed the situation, kicking Orm away. However, this was Orm's territory, where he used his trident and the lava to his advantage. Afterward, the brothers charged at each other again, their tridents clashing with divine weapons. Unleashing devastating force, King Orm relentlessly attacked, forcing Arthur into a defensive position. Then Orm used his trident to strike from above. After several rounds of resistance, Arthur's trident was split in half, causing the crowd to cheer for Orm's victory. But Orm didn't stop there. He still intended to finish off his brother. A whirlpool of water appeared, pulling Orm back to the arena, creating a vacuum in the air. It was the beautiful Mera who had caused this, controlling the ship to help them escape from Atlantis' royal palace. Behind them, King Orm's warship continued to pursue Arthur's ship. The ship moved from east to west, heading straight for the gateway, with stingray-shaped ships following closely. One ship continued to track them, deliberately tailing them. The person steering the ship was none other than King Orm himself. The ship turned, coming into the range of laser guns. However, the most dangerous place turned out to be the safest. The pursuing ships were destroyed, but Orm's ship remained steadfast in its pursuit. Orm fired at Arthur's ship, causing it to be hit by gunfire. Both ships fell into a lava pit, but it turned out to be a diversion plan to mislead Orm. Arthur used body language to signal a pod of whales to open their mouths, allowing both of them to hide safely. Mera was astonished by Arthur's ability, as no one in Atlantis had such power. Arthur understood the creatures and they could understand him. After escaping the lava pit, They surfaced and headed toward a desert kingdom. In the Sahara Desert, Arthur and Mera flew in a plane. Mera mentioned it was her first time flying, and that she could no longer return home due to her treasonous status. They both understood that sometimes they must do the right thing, even if it breaks their hearts. Meanwhile, in Atlantis, King Worm had planted a tracker in Mera's bracelet, so every movement of hers was now under his control. A while later, Orm meets Manta at the shore and gives him a powerful weapon. He orders Manta to hunt down and kill Arthur and Mera. Orm also promises a great reward if Manta succeeds. But Manta tells him he only wants to kill Arthur for revenge. Manta thrilled with the new gear and began modifying it, changing the color from white to black, and adding a helmet with an atomic laser eye. Orm met with King Riku to ask him to join the alliance to destroy the surface dwellers. But King Riku refused. Orm attacked and quickly defeated Riku, killing his subordinates. Orm then told Riku's daughter to prepare the army for the alliance. The next step in their plan was to visit the kingdom of the Brine people. Meanwhile, Mera and Arthur are still in the desert, trying to find the entrance to the Deserter Kingdom. Arthur complains about the harsh conditions and how difficult the desert is to travel. But Mera reminds him that the desert is on land and he shouldn't complain. Arthur tells her that there are far better places on the surface. And Mera argues that he didn't bother to understand Atlantis before hating it. After some time, they finally find the entrance to the kingdom. Inside the kingdom's main temple, they discover evidence that Atlan's trident is real. They also find a device that allows them to play a recording. When they insert a recording capsule into the device, a hologram of Atlan appears. Atlan explains that his trident holds the power of Atlantis, and in the hands of the true heir, it can unite all the kingdoms of the land and the sea. He also tells them that anyone who wants the trident must prove their worth by going to the hidden sea, beyond the edge of the world. Atlan directs them to a charted path inside a bottle, but only a true king can read it. After the recording ends, Mera breaks the capsule to prevent anyone else from finding it. As they prepare to leave, a bottle mysteriously unlocks from the floor, and inside, they find a map directing them to Italy. Once they reach Italy, Mera enjoys exploring the beautiful city, but they eventually arrive at the spot marked on the map. They try to decode the message from the recording, and Arthur realizes that one of the statues nearby must hold the bottle they found in the temple. He places the bottle in the hand of a statue, and this helps them see where they need to go next, across the ocean. Before they can leave, Manta shows up and shoots at them near the statue. Arthur is injured, and as Manta pursues him, Mera tries to stop Manta's soldiers. However, they reveal that they are there for her. As she is accused of treason, Mera runs away, thinking about how to defeat them. The fight between Arthur and Manta continues, with Manta's weapons and advanced suit giving him the upper hand. But Arthur refuses to back down. Eventually, Arthur asks Manta how he found them, and Manta reveals that they were tracking Mera. As Mera manages to defeat the soldiers, Arthur defeats Manta, who falls to the ground and is knocked into the sea. Mera hurries to help Arthur, who is badly weakened. Arthur tells her that she's being tracked, and Mera realizes that the tracker is in her bracelet. She quickly destroys it, and Arthur loses consciousness. Arthur wakes up on a boat, where Mera is playing a flute. She tells him that they've stolen a boat because the map led them to the trench, a dangerous and mysterious place. Arthur realizes that the trench is where Atlanta, his mother, was sent for execution. Mera says that it's now known as a place of death, and they don't know what awaits them. Arthur suggests turning back to warn the humans of the war, since he doesn't think he is fit to be king. But Mera tells him that she believes in him and that he is the one who can unite the land and sea. As they near the trench, dangerous creatures known as the trench attack them. Arthur and Mera fight back, using flares to scare off the creatures. They finally reach the portal to the hidden sea, but Mera says they won't be able to go through it together. Arthur believes they can, so he holds her hand and tries to enter the portal. But the energy of the portal blasts them apart, and Mera passes out. Just as creatures are about to eat her, someone arrives and saves her. Mera is dragged to the shore of the hidden sea, and when she wakes up, she sees her savior. The person removes their headgear, and Mera is shocked to realize that it's Atlanta. Arthur soon finds Mera and sees his mother standing beside her. He's in disbelief and hugs her, asking how she's alive. Atlanta explains that even though Orm sent her to die, She fought to survive. Arthur feels guilty about what his mother went through. But Atlanta reassures him that it wasn't his fault. She says she did what she had to do to protect him and his father. Tom. She asks about Tom. And Arthur says that Tom still waits for her every morning in the hope that she'll return. Arthur asks why she didn't come back. And Atlanta explains that the portal couldn't take her back. Both Arthur and Mara are shocked by this. And Atlanta says the only way they can leave is with the trident. She reveals that she has tried to get it several times. But the trident is guarded by a powerful creature called the Carathan. Mara suggests they can fight the Carathan together. But Atlanta advises against it. She explains that only the true heir can wield the trident. And that Arthur is the hero who will save everyone. She directs Arthur to go behind a waterfall to find what he's searching for. When Arthur goes through, he sees the trident held by Atlan. But as he approaches, the Carathan appears and declares that Arthur is the least worthy person to claim the trident. The Carathan throws Arthur around, mocking him as a half-breed and unworthy to be king. Just before he's about to kill Arthur, the hero says stop, admitting that he's not worthy but has come for the trident to save his people. The Carathan, surprised by Arthur's words, reveals that no one has communicated with him in years. Not since Atlan. He acknowledges that Arthur may be the true heir and tells him that he must wrest the trident from Atlan's hand. Arthur does exactly that, claiming the trident's power. He returns to Mara and Atlanta, who are proud of him and declare him the true king. Meanwhile, Orm discovers that Volko, his advisor, has betrayed him by working with Arthur. Enraged, Orm has his soldiers arrest Volko but orders that he be kept alive to witness Orm's victory over the surface dwellers. Shortly after, Orm leads Nerus and the Fisherman's army to the Brine Kingdom to force their king into joining his war. The Brine King refuses to cooperate, and Orm threatens to kill him. Before he can carry out the threat, a Carathan suddenly appears at the scene. Arthur then appears riding the Carathan, holding Atlan's trident. The sight of this convinces everyone that Arthur is the true heir to the throne of Atlantis. Arthur summons all the sea creatures to fight Orm's soldiers. Mara warns him that there are too many casualties and that he should face Orm alone. Arthur hesitates, unsure about the fight, but Mara encourages him to take the battle to the surface. She goes to meet Nerus and orders him to recall his soldiers. Then they kiss each other for 2 minutes 30 seconds. As Arthur now possesses Atlan's trident, Nerus recognizes the power of the trident and tells his soldiers that the half-breed is now their true king. On the battleground, Arthur lures Orm to the surface, where they confront each other. Orm refuses to accept Arthur as king, and the two brothers prepare for battle. Mara rescues Volko, explaining that they need to help Arthur. But Volko insists that everyone must see their true king defeat Orm. They watch as Arthur and Orm engage in a fierce battle. Arthur gradually overpowers Orm, demanding that his half-brother yield the throne. But Orm insists that Arthur will have to kill him for the fight to end. Arthur refuses, saying he's not like Orm. Orm continues to insist on the kill. But before the battle can escalate further, Atlanta intervenes, telling her sons to stop fighting. Orm is shocked to see her, but Atlanta hugs him and assures him it's a long story. She tells him to stop fighting Arthur and that the teachings of Orvax were wrong. She stresses that the land and sea are meant to be united. Just as she speaks, Volko arrives to arrest Orm. Mara announces to everyone in Atlantis that Arthur is the new king. And the people cheer for him. Arthur stands tall, feeling the weight of his new role. And the people of Atlantis chant his name in support. The following morning, Tom walks to the docks, stunned to see Atlanta waiting for him. He smiles, expressing his happiness that she's back, and Atlanta embraces him warmly. Arthur, now crowned king, has finally united the land and sea, and peace seems to have returned to Atlantis. Thank you for supporting Puppy Recaps. Please subscribe to watch the latest movie summaries. See you soon.